corporations.
My total focus, Faisal, is on delivering on the mini budget. Making sure that we get growth back into our economy.
You sound like a disaster.
Position hasn't changed. I will come up with the medium-term fiscal plan on the 31st of October.
I think you've been set up, personally, as the lackey. You may be bloody useless, I don't know.
That's what people are saying to me. The people are saying that
there's nothing specific
we understand.
Going on with the UK.
Look, there was some turbulence. I'm frank enough to accept that.
Okay.
But I'm going to give you another chance.
Absolutely 100%. I'm not going anywhere.
I don't like your last outbursts. If you'd have shut up a while back, it may be someone else going. You're fired.
Uncle Kwasi, the Chancellor of the UK, entered history twice. First, as the first black Chancellor, but also as the shortest-lived Chancellor in the UK. And although he didn't want to go anywhere, he was forced to go somewhere else, at least somewhere as far as possible from number 10 and 11, and all of this without reverence. In this video, we'll look at what led to the downfall of our dear Uncle Kwasi. No one enjoys losing a high-paying and high-powered job. Poor Uncle Kwasi, he barely had time to taste it. I don't even think he managed to meet his peers from the G20. I mean, it all started so well with a team of inexperienced members, and I made a video about this, how the new UK government has confidence but no experience. You should check it out. So this group of friends came on the job thinking that Keynesian types of economic interventions would spur growth. It felt like they had just read Economics for Dummies. You know, the title being How to Spur Economic Growth During a Recession. And the answer in a capitalistic world is often Keynes. And so my client Steve asked me, Kane the footballer? Wait, who's that? He had to explain. I know. How come I'm aware of a century-old economist dead for over 80 years, but I'm completely ignorant of a contemporary celebrity? Anyway, since I know nothing about football, I will stick to the economy. I know my place. Let's come back. What are Keynesian economic interventions? It's basically when the government spends money to create growth and demand. This is when you suddenly see roadworks, train lines being built, bridges coming out of the ground. It's like when you're 29, like me, working, at least trying, and your mother gives you pocket money so you can afford the subscription fee to watch House of Dragons. Without my mother, I wouldn't be contributing to HBO's success, and they could decide to stop the House of Dragons. I mean, that would be the end of the world. But in a nutshell, that's what Keynes, the economist, advised. So our group of friends watched way too many videos on YouTube about the upcoming UK and worldwide recession ahead. Because technically, as per the Bank of England, we're not in recession yet. You need 2 quarters of negative growth rate to call it a recession. And also, I'd like to say, let's just be a little bit positive here, huh? What do you think? Comment below with your positive attitude. So our group of friends got scared, and they read How to Spur Economic Growth During a Recession for Dummies, and came up with tax cuts and energy prices cap.
The estimated costs of our energy plans are particularly uncertain given volatile energy prices. The total cost of the energy package for the 6 months from October is expected to be around £60 billion.
The agenda was essentially, let's spend like there is no tomorrow. The issue is our group of friends didn't identify the correct problem. We don't have a demand problem, meaning like when there is an earthquake and suddenly no one wants to buy makeup anymore. How is a lipstick going to solve the destruction of your houses? So keeping the same example, if it was a demand problem, and if you want to follow Keynes' advice, then the government can decide to buy makeup kits and distributes them to prostitutes, to bring back a bit of joy during an earthquake. And so these actions will help because it is a demand problem or a lack of demand problem. However, in our case, we have a money supply problem. And so my client Steve, oh, yes, I forgot to explain. I am the only business coach you'll ever need to solve your relationships problems. And so don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. But back to my client Steve. He asked, what does that mean, a money supply problem? Are you saying people have too much money? That's exactly what I'm saying. People have way too much money, and there aren't enough goods and services produced to satisfy all this money out there. So what do? They go on Robinhood or another investment app and invest massively in Tesla stocks, or in Bitcoins, or in Bitcoins, or in shitcoins. And they drive the prices up, creating inflation. At that point, I saw my client Steve, and probably you too, mentally begging on the notion that you may have too much money. My client Steve was straight with me, and he said, I've got 8,500 in credit cards debt. I don't feel rich at all. I don't feel I've got too much money. And so, mon ami, this is the nuance I want to bring, and you're not going to like this one, I'm sorry to say that. Having too much money doesn't mean you're rich. Having too much money means that literally you can wake up from your nap today and ask for a £10,000 loan from an online platform from the comfort of your own toilets, and the loan will be approved within an hour if the algorithm is correctly programmed. Otherwise, don't bother. Who waits a few hours to get a response for a $10,000 personal loan, apart from losers and people with a 2G internet connection? Am I right or right? Money was widely available because central banks and government agreed to it. And it's been the case pretty much since 2008. You remember the last financial crisis that threatened the world and barely no one got jailed? But how did we make this money available? Excellent question, Steve. On one hand, central banks printed it, and on the other hand, governments borrowed it. Because technically the government is like most of us. The government spends more than it earns, and therefore, it has to borrow to make up for the shortfalls. Okay, so I can see you're a bit lost, so let's put the pieces of the puzzle together now, and I promise I'll go back to Uncle Kwasi. So now imagine again that you take over a business selling t-shirts. The business is not yet in recession, but you can see the sales falling. You owe £10,000 to the bank, and the previous team was super incompetent and liked partying way too much, even during isolation. So you take over and you bring your roommates as the management team. Then there is the first meeting with the bank, worried about your ability to save the company. And your best mate comes out and releases a mini business plan, which consists of slashing the prices of the t-shirts that you sell and allocating more money to energy so your employees won't get cold over the winter. How do you think the bank, your creditor, will respond to this mini business plan? Well, this is exactly what Uncle Kwasi delivered with confidence and poise in his mini budget. The thing that disturbs me the most is why calling it mini budget. Did you think that no one would notice? And it's also very ironic to think this mini budget caused a pound crash so profound that the Bank of England had to intervene. He acted like a boss, and we should all learn from him. For example, never call your plan mini. It's a recipe for a giant disaster. It's like you start chipping inside a pack of mini Magnum ice creams, and then you end up finishing the pack. I'm telling you, a recipe for body positivity disaster. The second thing we can learn from him is if you go home, at least go big and fast. His mini budget was in the magnitude of the Lehman's crash. The difference being the Bank of England came to the rescue, while in 2008 the US government let Lehman die. Rest in peace. I mean, that is some serious skills that you probably can only learn at Harvard. And he went fast. Lehman took years to build the Death Star of financial products that would destroy the universe of credits. But Uncle Kwasi, in one speech, only one speech, he did the job. I mean, next to this, I Have a Dream is a pale attempt at changing people's lives. The third thing is, please don't take a "you're fired" personally. When Royal Mail is cutting thousands of jobs, don't take it personally. I know I don't, and it's probably because my livelihood doesn't depend on it. But au contraire, losing your job is a chance for you, and I'm talking to you also, Uncle Kwasi. It is a chance to turn your life around. And that is when you should use your last penny saved to hire a business coach like me. Uncle Kwasi, here's my number. I'm available Monday to Sunday, and I will help you refine and articulate your value proposition outside of the political world. Because in this context of inflation, you need to learn to inflate your salary, your head, and your ego.